Mm. Hi guys, how is everybody? Get a little bit of a better view there. Hi, what's going on, Metaphysical Mama? You say it's your birthday. It's my birthday today. It's my birthday too, yeah. So I just pulled. I'm just hanging out at the park and relaxing a little bit in this chaos. There's so many things going on, and in change and in turmoil and in chaos and being twisted and flipped and portrayed and turned around and mimicked and hacked and et cetera, whatever, right? Um, so I just pulled Turquoise Changing Woman. It's Astana. I just had the pronunciation. Forgive me. I just had it. Estanatluhi. Estanatluhi. So this is the card I pulled. Beautiful. Hopefully you can see it okay. I know the light, the sun's kind of shining on me. So I'm just going to read it, and hopefully it'll resonate with me and you and all of us here. And please like, subscribe, and hit the little belly bell. So let's see. I don't know if I should. Maybe I should flip it around. Might be a better view. It's not gonna let me flip it. There we go. Let's see. That's a little more pretty, yeah. Minus the cans. Okay. So let's see. And welcome. Thanks for coming to hang out with me. So it says, I am the Turquoise Moon Mother, and I come to you now with a message of change. This may be change that you want or change that you fear. But either way, I will show you how to use this change to become stronger, wiser, and more empowered to fulfill your divine destiny. Do not fear the changes around you and within you. Trust in the timing of what is happening in the world. And there is so much happening, right, in the world right now. Ugh. There it goes. So let's see. Change is upon you. It is essential for your continued growth, and you do not need to fear it. As you allow for this change, remain steadfast in your inner spiritual connection. This gives you courage, trust, peace, and reassurance, and you will find ways to navigate the shift so that your life improves through the process. If you are thinking of making a change, right, or we're being forced into one, you are encouraged to do so without trying to force it, right? Sometimes, too, everything's changing around us and it's very scary, like it is now. So we just got to kind of go with the flow, do the best we can, and also not get swept away and taken advantage of in the meanwhile, right? It's like because there's so much fear, and that's what tends to make people do things right out of right context or misinterpretations of scriptures or whatever, whether right we interpret it wrong or someone else interpret it, has multiple interpretations of it and is taking advantage of the people with it, or various degrees differences, right? So let's see. If you're thinking of making a change, you're encouraged to do so without trying to force it. Be open and do your part to do the best of your ability, but also tune into your sense of divine timing, asking the universe for help and allowing life to unfold according to its own rhythm of creative, loving intelligence. And yeah, don't forget, all the elementals are all have a consciousness, right? The air that we breathe, Everything is alive, right? Earth is alive, right? We live on a living planet. Our bodies are alive, right? We have things that crawl inside and outside of our body that are alive, right? It's like we have like a battery. We sleep, we rest. We don't have to tell ourselves to breathe and for our hearts to beat, right? Our organs know what to do. We don't have to tell them, right? And then we have all the different atoms within our living body, right? Our skin suit, our vessel, our living tree, right, of life, right? We're a walking, living tree. Book of life, right? So as, learning to be more in tune with Mother Earth and the elementals and our inner, right, our universe, the universe is inside of you, right? So what's going on within us, right? Our emotional body, our mental faculties, right? Our church and state, our temple. And church and state, right, is like our state of emotional being. What frame or state of mind are you in, right? So the many different meanings to the words that we use are important. It's important for us to slow down, right? Because this is the flood. You don't want to get washed away in the floods. Don't let other people make you feel so rushed, right? Hurry up, I need an answer now. $707. Double up, double up, double up. Okay. Estanatluhi is the turquoise moon goddess of the Navajo, known as Changing Woman. She is always changing and yet never dies. As she begins to age, she simply turns to walk to the east, the direction of the rising sun and beginnings, where she is renewed. Her blessings are for nourishment, renewal of energy, and new beginnings. She brings hope and reminds us that life is constantly renewing itself around us and within us. We can always begin again in that spirit of renewal. In the face of loss or destruction, her presence brings comfort, hope, and peace, so that rather than losing faith and giving up because we feel defeated, we have the courage to continue to fight for what matters, with refreshed reserves of energy and enthusiasm. And that doesn't mean we need to fight. It just means we need to have the will and the spirit. Don't let your spirit, right? Don't let your spirit die. Don't let your, right, give up hope, right? Just because we're going through change and we're going into unknown territories, uncharted, right? It's having the faith, right? This too shall pass, to make it through, and knowing that this is, like Shit said in the beginning, to bring, right? To show you how to use this change to become stronger, wiser, and more empowered to fulfill your divine destiny, right? If we just stay the same, which that's when we're all comfortable, right? Then we're not going to go through our evolutionary process, right? And ignite the proper DNA codes and light codes that we need to within us in order to, right, wake the beep up, right? And in order to come into more balance and just more awareness, right? I mean, that's really the goal. It's just, right, to be at more peace. It's like, oh, that's just, right? Like, it's like, right, people eat, you go to the bathroom. Sometimes people fart, right? It's like, so this is like spiritual belching, spiritual burps, spiritual puberty. So it's not always comfortable. It may be real awkward at times, right? Embarrassing even, right? Our matrix, our belief system is changing. So going with the flow. I'm rebirthing, right, who we are within. It's like just graduating to another level within our own skin, right? Just like school. It's like we don't lose what we've learned or who we were or whatever, but we don't call ourselves that or take that with us. It's like we went to a certain school and learned certain things and met certain people there and had certain teachers, right? Had certain experiences, but we don't call, right? We don't, that's not, we're not like, that's, we're not still acting out in those manners and what have you, or call ourselves, right? That, the name of that school, right? We're not that people, right? It's like we went there. It's part of who we are, experience we had, right? So we take the experience with us and the fond memories and maybe some embarrassing ones and what have you, right? And lessons. What do we take with us, right? And what do we let go of now? Okay, let's see. um, Rather than losing faith and giving up because we feel defeated, we have the courage to continue to fight for what matters with refreshed reserves of energy and enthusiasm. If we're struggling with change, either too much of it or perhaps too little of it, Estanatluhi comes to us with reassuring guidance. When something is in need of repair, Great Spirit knows how to restore it. When something needs to end, Great Spirit will show the way to empty ourselves of the past and prepare for a new beginning. When there is a lack or deprivation, the abundance and generosity of the universe shall bring fullness. We do not need to fear change, whether wanted or unwanted. We just need to trust in the good and loving workings of the universe. Estanatluhi reminds us of the divine feminine wisdom and power which expresses itself as life, always flowing, always changing, always evolving. We belong to life and can trust in it. Evolution is not always easy. Often it requires tremendous courage of heart and inner strength. Yet the turquoise moon mother will help us respond to any change in a way that increases love, light, and wisdom within us and the world. Turquoise changing woman is also known as the conqueror of monsters and the bringer of blessings, especially when we feel that we are under attack or lacking something that we need. I can totally relate with that. While also not allowing it to attack me, because it's not, I shouldn't be being attacked, but right, I'm getting thrown into, right, they're trying to throw me into the lion's den, right, like Daniel, so to speak, or it can look that way, right? So is it that way, right, or is it just the change that we're going through, which can be very scary? So it's a mixture of all that. So it's okay. It's gonna be all right. She teaches us that it's safe to rest our unconditional faith in divine grace. We make our efforts as wholeheartedly as we can, but in the gap between what we can do and what needs to be accomplished for beauty, peace, and healing to happen on this planet, divine grace is there as the bridge, the catalyst, the miracle worker. Grace does not do the work for us, but it does empower our efforts and assist us in fulfilling our purpose in ways the mind can rarely anticipate. 1414. Grace is the invisible and empowering hand of Great Spirit, reaching for us daily. Turquoise Moon Mother watches over us with a reminder that we are not in this alone, that the divine is our creative partner in all pursuits. We only need ask for help to be given, to realize that it is already there, waiting for us to receive it, right? And that's so true. It just might not be, we just might not know who to ask or where to get it, but when we have faith and allow that time, and so it's like, then maybe we're not supposed to do anything or ask anybody for that moment, except for the right people, places, or things to be put into our path, right? Right? put the right people, places, and things in my path of the least resistance, right? Throughout this change so I can find, right? Peace in myself or growth in myself, maybe, right? Sometimes it's not so easy because we're going through a growth spurt. So it may be, right, kind of tumultuous, right? And painful. But then when we come out of it, we get to look back and be like, wow, I can't believe I made it through that, right? Look how strong we are. So it's empowering. We get to see strength that we didn't know we had. Or we learn, either, right, how to help ourselves or where to find help or how to ask for help. Or when we help others, then we help ourselves. And then we just happen to find the right people, places, or things, right? All these different things come into play when we just are open for it. We're just willing and open. Right? Don't let people or other people, places, or things give you too much anxiety and constrict you, right? The word devil means contract, right? So contraction, right? So it doesn't always mean people, places, or things are bad, right? If we go into a said, right, contract, but you want to be aware of what you're either signing up for, right? Clearly, without false intentions, right? And foully, or, right? It should just be equal energy exchange, right? Sex is sacred energy exchange. So it doesn't really have anything to do with the devil or a contract. If I want to rope you in, right? And hold you to something, right? Like Set with Osiris, bet you can't get in that box. Bet you can't get in that calendar square, right? Into that magic square. Bet you can't get in those four corners. Bet you can't get in that box. And just think of the ways that you could think of that perception, right? So did Set tell Osiris maybe like, it don't matter, you could just, right? Went to anybody, right? And everybody's like, oh, I want to try too then. Or was it getting into like a coffin? Or is it getting into a calendar date? Or is it getting into any box, like Pottinger's cat experiment, right? Is there a cat in the box or not? Okay. A whole bunch of different ways we can look at it and perceive it, right? Different doors of perception that we can look through if we just allow, right? And then we'll have more ability to communicate with ourselves and one another and spirit because we're allowing rather than forcing so much or trying to control, right? Because we're coming from a place of lack or fear, right? Or unconscious programming. We're just so used to doing things a certain way, right? We hear the same old line, right? That's just the way it is. And then now we have this to deal with. Now, right, it's like false votes, V word, the other V word. Now you need a B word to go with the other V words, right? If you're picking up at what I'm throwing out. Right? And if you don't have that and you need a card, then, and now we have a, right, Russian, because people are rushing around from one thing to the next. There's a, right, war, and Ukraine is the babies of Russia. That's like the fathers and the sons when they say the Bible and what have you, the fathers and the sons and the mothers and the daughters and whatever. Right? So it's like stories, pre-scripted narratives being thrown out and about all over the place. But if we read between the lines, a lion's den, and allow, I was like, oh, okay, hold on. Time and space to process. A lot of the time, these things will work themselves out. But we're just so used to feeling fearful and feeling like our space is closing, time and space, that window's closing. We have to hurry and jump on it or else, and then we can have pressure, right? Peer pressure, which we tell our children not to give into. But that's what the adult world is built off of. Duality and peer pressure, right? So it'd be very, very nice if, right, people kind of practice what they preach and also would just, right, innocence in a sense, innocence allow their senses, more senses to awaken and more perceptions to occur, right, before jumping all over the place like, right, buck wild horses. We got a wild one. We got a live one here. Vicky Vale. Batman. Batman. So, yeah, if we allow a little bit more instead of trying to make more rules and laws that we don't even understand, and then we the people just agree unconsciously and just continue to say things like, well, that's what they said and this is what's going on, but who said? And let's take that into context rather than just listening and doing and then getting upset after the fact and then trying to point fingers and blame. And it's just, right, it's like really old and repetitive now. And like the number, like binary code, right? 1 can refer to the finger, and O can refer to the mouth, right? Binary code, pointing and blabbing, right? Because anything that gets interpreted and starts to come out of our mouths or written with our fingers, written with our hands, texted, gets totally right, can be so misinterpreted. We can think about it one way and feel one way inside, and as soon as we open our mouth and spit it out or text something, right, it's like, you ever do, and it's like, oh my goodness, that looks so not like how I meant it inside. Like, I'm right, we're thinking and feeling one way, and then you text something and it's like, oh, you hit send and it's like, that looked wrong. Right? Or we misinterpret, or sometimes we think somebody else is saying something else, right? Or we can feel offended. Me and my friend were just kind of talking about that, and we weren't really feeling that way. We were explaining ourselves back and forth, because that's what like Isis and Thothi do. We go back and forth and we allow, like, right, oh, there's 2 cute little ducks walking. They were walking right with the people, like all calm. I don't know if I can, if you can see them. They're like, where'd you go, little duckies? They're over there somewhere. Anyhow, so, you know, allowing ourselves to, right, it's okay to not feel okay. It's okay to you know, most important is just, again, allowing the time to communicate so that we're able to, there's some kids about to walk by. I'm gonna flip you back at me for a minute. To allow ourselves to, right, incorporate, because this is inner, if you want to call it twin flame alchemy, it's inner master alchemy, right? So being an alchemist means that we're willing to take the time and space necessary to allow whatever electrical current is arising within our physical vessel, right, within us, our body water, electricity come up and it mixes with our saltwater body, which is a semiconductor, and causes friction, which causes mercury to rise within our vessel and causes, right, mayhem and madness in our mind, a mess, right? So now we have Eve and Adam and Cain that come out the temple of our, say, brain. Right, so now we're tipped over to the side, like Uranus, right? And out of the garden. We're out of our mind. Parts of us just came out, right? Adam and Eve and Cain are gone. So, right, that's why we kill the firstborn. Not kill the firstborn, just we want to, it's like, get back home, come back home and eat. We want to bring that back in and allow more fruit to bear from our tree, more thoughts, more feelings, right? So then this is inner alchemy, our thought, our feeling, and Mercury rising, right? Turning lead to gold. So we want to allow what's risen up from the under that comes traveling up through our body, mixes with our, what we recognize as an emotion, right? Energy in motion, traveling through our vessel on a consistent basis, right? But that's what we call it. And then we're like, oh, I feel this way, or oh, right? So we mix, right? Alchemize what's mixing in our belly, alchemy, with our thoughts and our feelings, our thoughts and our feelings and our thoughts, right? So to balance that out, whether we go right front, back, that's like a ball of energy that we want to allow to develop like a picture into more, so that then we have more fruit to bear from our tree, and we ain't running around missing so many pieces, or right, like motherfucking whores, right? Oh, wherefore art thou, Romeo? We're wondering where our pieces are, right? It's like we just got to call them back. It's like breath, right? Goes out, it goes in, right? So within, so without. So we want to allow those marbles, I got marbles in my mouth today. It's Mercury retrograde, so like all week I'm like, ugh. So okay, I'm gonna flip you back around, because I think that the trees are prettier than looking at me. Okay, let's see. It says find a comfortable place to sit quietly. So you can pretend that you're sitting right under one of those trees. This is the healing process. Say aloud, or I'm going to say it aloud. You can just close your eyes. Through unconditional love, I am blessed and empowered to grow through change. All that I need to evolve into the next expression of my divine destiny is generously provided for me. I surrender into divine blessing for renewal now, open to receive my highest good. So be it. Hold the card and gaze at the moon behind the goddess. And I can do that for you. Also, I think. Let's see. Reflect upon her image and the way her left thumb gently brings focus to her forehead. And with her right palm facing upwards, she reaches to the ground beneath her. It's funny, I'm holding it with my left thumb. So funny. Here, she bestows blessings. Take a moment to center yourself in your heart chakra, not the human heart, and in the center, right in the dink, right where the buoyancy point is. In between the rib cage, right, and your throat, like in the center, true north. Take a moment to center yourself in your heart. Are you open and willing to receive a divine blessing? Can you allow yourself to become clear and receptive, trusting in what will be granted? When you are ready, you may wish to mirror the pose depicted in the card image by placing your own left thumb on your forehead for a few moments as you extend your right arm out, palm facing upwards. You don't have to think. All you need to do is breathe and be as though divine blessings is flowing through you from the Divine Mother and into the world. Allow your gaze to become soft and diffuse, and when you are ready, close your eyes and relax. Stay in that relaxed state for as long as feels right for you. You may wish to chant, to meditate, or even fall asleep. When you are ready, awaken and ground yourself with some physical movement. You have completed your healing process. Whoop, whoop. And I'm going to keep it short and sweet because we're under 30 minutes, and ain't that neat? So yeah, you know, the more we allow and the more we tell fear, which you can, right, represent false evidence appearing real, the more we recognize fear is false, right? It's just change, and we're afraid of change, or we're afraid of what may happen, or how we might look, or how someone else might think, Or, right, like, what are you afraid of? Like, take a look at when you feel like, right, why is that feeling arising? What's causing that feeling? So, right, that's when takes a big person to take a look at ourselves and take the time and space to actually acknowledge that, right? So, I so appreciate you coming to hang out with me. I didn't want to record kitties coming by, walking by. And, yeah. Should we pull one more card before we go? I don't know. I think that's good. I think I'm just going to leave it there. Thanks for hanging out. Please like, subscribe, and hit the little belly bell. And, yeah, one love. And, yeah, don't allow change to scare the shit out of you so that you get paralyzed and don't move. Right? That's the last thing we want to do now. But at the same time, we want to be humble and allow. It's like, right, we don't have control, right, over a birthing process. That too. This is birthing. So, right, allowing the whatever needs to fade away be, right, and just go through the labor pains that we need to labor, right? Because we are the ones we've been waiting for, right? Otherwise, what else are you waiting for? All right. One love. Later.